Somebody asked me about how would you know if you're psychic or have psychic abilities? Again, I think everybody's got them. Maybe some people have them a little bit more strong than others, that information comes to them more than others, and some have to really, really work to develop it. I do think there's different levels that people kind of are with, but I do think everybody's got it. So I will just say if you are human, you probably have gut feelings, and sometimes you can feel an energy, meaning you walk into a room, you can feel whether people are angry, you can feel whether they're excited, you can feel the energy in the room, and that energy is coming from other people. How are you feeling that? How are you feeling how the other people in the room are feeling? Because you have some of these abilities. Everybody's born with them. I remember one time I walked into a room, it was a website meeting. We were working on the website of all things, and the room was so thick with people's frustrations. Like I could just feel it walking into the room, you know. Nobody had to tell me there had been lots of disagreements in the past. I could tell. So you too have had those experiences where nobody's telling you something, you're feeling it. And if you're feeling it, you're using your psychic abilities. Gut feelings, you just know you shouldn't trust somebody, you know, right up front. Again, those are your psychic abilities. So, but you should try to develop them if you're interested and see how far you can take it, because I think it's pretty cool that, you know, we have this ability, humans, and a lot of people, because they don't quite understand it, they want to poo poo it. And yet, probably the best business people out there have psychic abilities, and they have learned to trust their gut feelings about things. And even though something can look perfect on paper, they're feeling something that says, that's not right, and I shouldn't do that. And they're listening to that feeling and they're excelling. Some private financial advisors are really great at making money because they listen to their feelings. So I think it can take you far in life if you really, really become in tune with the intuition you were born with. And a lot of people just live in the materialistic, you know, I got to have the right house, I got to have the right car, I got to get my ego going and make sure everybody else knows I'm important too. And when you concentrate on those things in life, you're actually totally ignoring your abilities to become in tune with yourself and be quieter and listen to what the energy in the room is telling you, and your gut feelings and all of that. So anyway, life is interesting. Everybody can develop this. If I was to tell you who to study under, if I was going to recommend anybody, I absolutely, absolutely love Tony Stockwell. I mean, he is amazing. He is the gentlest, kindest, sweetest soul. He's so kind, so encouraging, so just gentle, and his approach, honestly, I can't say enough good things about him as a person. It's like I always think of him as like an angel on earth, because he is just the kindest soul out there. I mean, he's really a wonderful person to study under. He is in the UK, England. You can go to his website, tonystockwell.com, and then you'll find his online events, and make sure you do that conversion of time zone so that you know when to show up. I've gone to his events early in the morning or late in the evening, you know, at different times that I'm trying to catch events, and some I can't, obviously. But I would say if you want to start and just start taking, like my little niece wants to take a basic psychic class, and I'm watching Tony Stockwell's page because he's the first person I want her to be introduced to if she's going to start learning this stuff, because I know he'll do her right. You know, he's gentle with people, he's nice, he's kind, and he's encouraging, and he puts the exercises at, you know, like a good level so that it's not overwhelming and freaks him out, because this stuff is like, oh no, I have to go meet somebody at a Zoom room and practice with them. At first you don't feel real confident in your ability. Anyway, he'd be the one I send my niece to too. Who else? I really like Stacy. Her life is eluding me at this moment. but she has a Facebook page called We Connect Together. She's not big time at all, but she, again, has that approach that's very encouraging, very helpful. She's got a fun personality, and she's a kind person. She used to do free practice groups. I think she still does them. I think they're just not at a time that I can join in. I believe they might be on Mondays or something. She used to do one every Wednesday night, and I used to join in on that one. I really liked it. Now I catch her classes, though, here and there. She's getting a little more pricey as she's getting a little more popular, as we all do. But I would suggest, if you want to try going to different classes, that she's maybe one that you might want to study under too. Now, Tony Stockwell does psychic and mediumship. I believe Stacy pretty much focuses on mediumship. Who else? Pam Coronado, if you're really interested in this investigative stuff, like what I do with the cards and reading on cases. She's a good one to study under, because she is just, she's done it. She's a private investigator, or was, and people hire her all the time to go work on cases using her psychic abilities. So she shares some of her real cases in the class, and we actually read on them. The So that's really neat. Those are the pros. The cons to studying under Pam Coronado, the only thing I could say is that sometimes she gets really, really chatty and can get off topic, or she can go on about topics relating to her, which we're interested in, but we're not specifically growing a lot in those instances in the class. And sometimes the thing that I didn't like about her classes is she didn't give the homework often until, like, maybe even sometimes a day before the next class or 2 days before the next class. It would have been really cool if she gave the homework right away. So we had classes every week. At the end of the first week, you get your homework for the next week right away, because people like me are really super busy, and then I'm rushing through the homework. And when you're doing psychic work, last thing you want to do is rush through it. Another thing about her classes that for me wasn't 100% the way I like to approach things is that you get nothing. I mean, you get a picture of a person. You don't even get a name a lot of the times. You just get a picture. What happened to this person, and you go into your meditations and you go into your card readings. I often didn't have time to do both, so it was like, pick one. And you get what write out what you see on her online classroom. Cool, because then the next class you're going to get feedback on what you just did. You're going to know if you got it right or not. Or if you're working on a case, she'll let you know what she got with it, and the direction it's going in, so you'll know where you're at with that. But I ended up rushing a lot of stuff in her class, and I didn't care for that. Plus, there was absolutely, so even when I do my card readings, I know, like, say, Kylie Rodney that we read on. We knew she was a missing girl. She'd gone missing from a campground. We knew about her age. So I had basic facts. So when I do a card reading, I could look at those facts and I could say, I can see this is probably the situation. It gives you a base. It gives you an anchor in that situation, I feel like, and it gives you a way to interpret the cards that you understand, because otherwise you can be reading, if you have no background on it, you're not going to quite understand it as well. So that was another thing I found difficult because, and I'll say it this way, when someone, and I've had people come to me to work on cases, when they come to me and ask me to work on a case, they give me the person's name, they give me the situation, and they want me to kind of go from there. And so I go from there, and I have some sort of foundation to base my card readings on, and to interpret card readings to understand where this may be going and what I'm seeing in the cards and how that relate to what happened to this person. It just, to me, it gives way more information that way than if somebody just called me up and say, hey, there's a girl missing, I'm going to send you her picture, tell me what you get. But some people like that because they don't like what they consider it preloading, and that then their logical mind is coming into all kinds of conclusions. I can actually go into a reading, you'll hear me many times say, my logical mind says this, I think this happened. The cards tell me something other totally different, and I have to listen to the cards. So I guess some people can do that and some people can't. She takes the approach of you can't, and she teaches you blindly with no other information than maybe a picture. That was always a little tough for me. But I do suggest if you're starting out and you want to do some of this investigative kind of psychic work, she is not a bad person to study under because it's really interesting the cases that you get to work on, and just the feedback is right there. And you get to know other people interested in this too, which I always think. All right, so other places you can study, highly, highly recommend Arthur Findlay College. The only thing I don't like about Arthur Findlay College, okay, Arthur Findlay College, if you don't know, it's a huge, huge, huge mediumship development center in England. In England, they are much more open about this kind of thing. They've got a lot of churches based on where people do mediumship out of the church. It's just a much more open culture than here in the United States, where people like me are weirdos. So over there, they have Findlay College. It's kind of like our Lilydale, but Lilydale is not quite on the same level, you know? Be like U of M to Harvard or something. Lilydale being U of M. All right, going to Harvard. We'll go back to Arthur Findlay College. You know, their classes online now. They didn't used to do online classes, but now with COVID, hey, it's opened up the world for a lot of us. And I take classes with them now and then. A lot of really good mediums and psychics there, probably the best of the best, and you can study under them. Not always cheap, I'll be honest. But and the only thing I don't like about Arthur Findlay College is they put things in a box the way it has to be, and they have all these rules that go with your development. So you're supposed to do this, and you're not supposed to do that, and you can do this, and you can't do that. And when you do a reading, you're supposed to bring through X, Y, and Z, and you shouldn't do da 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 da. I don't love the rules, and that's why I love Tony Stockwell. He's very, very open about, you know, he'll even say, "What can you read on?" Anything. Anything. And I love that about him because I am under the belief, I, some people don't even think you should read about investigative cases and stuff, but I'm under the belief that if that information is coming to me, it's coming to me for a reason. If I get the information wrong, that's me. I didn't channel correctly. I didn't interpret correctly. That's not what was given to me. What's given to me is always correct. It is. It just is. So that's why I like Tony Stockwell too, because he's very open to develop yourself, develop you as who you are and the gifts you have. And you know, your gifts, some there's cattiness. There is in the spiritual world too. There's a lot of people that want to put a lot of rules on what you can and cannot do. And I think don't listen to people, listen to your spirit guides, listen to what's coming to you, because if it's coming to you, I'm telling you, it can't be wrong. It can't be wrong from the spiritual world. So just and take and develop your gifts in the way that you best can. Do no harm. That's always our, you know, at the end of the day, our motto. You know, you don't want to ever hurt. You bring forward information, hopefully to help. And if you've got your heart in the right place, you know, you can go and you can develop yourself as you should, as you're being called to, because you will have a calling, and your calling may not be the same calling that your teacher at Arthur Findlay College is preaching to you. Just remember that, you know, develop yourself and your abilities and your gifts in the direction that they are unfolding, because they take you in certain directions. Okay, so Arthur Findlay College, Journey Within, that is another website. It's here in the United States. It actually is a church, I believe, and I think they even do classes there, and I can't remember where it is. It's nowhere close to me. But they do have online classes, and I've taken some of their classes. Even Tony Stockwell would teach through them every once in a while, and I'd catch one of his classes. Again, you're going to have some of those mediums that are very like strict on it should be this way, and you should do this, and you shouldn't do that, and da da da. Get whatever you can out of those classes, right? I mean, take what you can, and if it totally doesn't resonate with you, like there's oh, what's his name? Somebody. He's online too. He didn't resonate with me. You know, a lot of my friends really liked him, and I went to one of his classes. Got red hair. I can't remember. He's in the UK, I believe. Can't remember his last name for the life of me. Anyway, the first thing he said in one of his classes that I took was, "I'm going to offend you at some point." And I thought, why is that like the first you're telling me. You can't teach without offending your students. To me, it was, you know, that's not the approach I I will do best under. I know where I will learn best, and that wasn't for me. I want to find his name. Hang on one second. I'm gonna find it for you guys. But if you like tough love, kind of the tough guy telling you you're wrong, the thing I don't like about him too is that a lot of what he says is if you didn't get it right, it's your fault. Um, yes, to a point, maybe, but we all start at the beginning. Nobody's just flying high from the very beginning, doing their very best. I mean, it just doesn't work that way. So Charlie Kelly, that's him. All right. Um, so I've seen some of his students not have a lot of confidence because they're so afraid that it's their fault if they do something wrong. And it shouldn't be that way. You should never be blamed for not getting something right or, feel bad anyway. It should just be like a good learning experience and try better next time. And that's why I like the really encouraging people like Stacy and Tony Stockwell. So I don't recommend Charlie Kelly. Sorry, Charlie, but I don't. Um, let's see. There is Dale. I don't love them. I haven't had like the most professional experiences when I've tried to take classes through them. And I have had several. I think I've tried to take 3 or 4 classes, and the majority of those classes were canceled. I'd get an email that the class had been canceled. So I don't love that. That's just me. Sometimes I would even take off work to take a class that I thought was going to be really cool, and it got canceled. So anyway, trying to think of anybody else that I would recommend strongly. I guess those are the places I would start. I would start if you were going to take your first class, do it with Tony Stockwell. He is not cheap, but he's good. And say just be careful about circles. You can join on circles for free and pop in and just give it a try for mediumship. There's psychic development kind of circles classes for free as well, where you're paired up in a room and you practice with people. They're not bad at all. I definitely can recommend some of those on Facebook. You might want to just type in psychic development group or things like that. The only thing about them is when everybody can come and it's free, sometimes you get people that are maybe not 100%. That's the best way I could put it. Not complete scammers, but I don't know. If you're looking for people who are really, really serious about it, I would say take the classes. I'll just put it that way. Okay, so those are the places I recommend and don't recommend, and good luck to you, and I hope you do develop because everybody can. Take care. Bye-bye.